question 45. Mendoza Streetwear, the epitome of cool on the west coast of the USA, is in the middle of an outage due to severe weather and has performed a failover to their disaster recovery location in Raleigh, North Carolina. The failover to the latest replica restore point from 1 hour ago is unsuccessful due to the production virtual machine being in an inconsistent state at the run of the last run of the hourly replication job. How can the backup administrator start the process of failover to a restore point from 2 hours ago? Now, I would say the first thing that would basically need to happen here is a undo failover, but let's ignore that since the actual question is just how do you failover to something from 2 hours ago. Well, let's take a closer look here. In the Veeam backend replication console, right-click the virtual machine and select Failover Now. Select the VM, click the point ... button and select the restore point from 2 hours ago. Since it's running every hour, that seems like a feasible option. In the Veeam backend replication console, right-click the virtual machine and select Start To and input the time as of 2 hours ago. Also sounds like a possible option. In the vSphere client, navigate to the virtual machine, open a snapshot manager, select the most recent restore point, click Revert To, and then power on the virtual machine. Now, I would say this is definitely not the recommended way of doing something, because then you lose the option of doing these failover, undo failover, fail back, and so on. Plus, we already went to the one from 1 hour ago. That should be the most recent one. So we wanted to go 2 hours ago. So the most recent one here is definitely not going to be the right one. So I'm going to say this middle option is a distractor. In the Veeam backend replication console, right-click the virtual machine and select Failover To and input the time as of 2 hours ago. Sounds similar to the first one and the second one. Nothing needs to be done. Once Veeam tools is detected as running on the virtual machine, Veeam will automatically execute planned tests. When the planned tests fail, Veeam will automatically roll back to a previous restore point and restart the process. I mean, this sounds fantastic, but unfortunately, this is not really how it works. So I would say we are down to at least 1 out of 3 options here. And we could go and take a look in user guide here, Veeam user guide, failover. Okay, and we can see some documentation here, but let's go and say actually performing failover. So, okay, here we have the wizard, but this is not really necessarily showing us exactly what we want to do here, because here it's not showing us the right-click option here, right? It's basically showing the wizard. So this is a bit of a trick. We of course could go through the lab and take a look, but thankfully I already know here that the right option would be to right-click the machine, select failover, and the option is going to be point ... which would then allow us to actually go and select this restore point. So this is also similar to the button that we have right here actually. And if you're thinking, looking through these, that for example Start To sounds familiar, well, that's because essentially it's the option that you have if you're starting a sure backup job where you want to go to an earlier restore point time. So I'm going to go with the failover now, select the VM and click the point button, which is what we could see right here, as opposed to right-click the machine here, which we could also do. So let's maybe inspect this a little bit closer here. Here it says right-click the machine, select failover now, select the VM, click the point, and select the restore point from 2 hours ago. Yeah, or the one down here, select the machine and input the time. So there's a difference here. In this one, you input the time. In the top one, you are presented with a list of restore points. And if we click this select restore point here, we can actually see that there's no inputting of time. We would be presented with a list of the restore points. So based on that, this top option here must be the correct answer.